this video, I'm going to walk through the co-op course that can also be used for the DCO-30 and just sort of explain the differences and what you can do to get started. So we've created a master shell for any co-op teacher to use. You'll see we have the main tools across the top navigation to use within the environment. We've added in a link to my blueprint. Now when students click this link to go to my blueprint or the teacher, they will be brought to this login portal screen, at which point they'll select school account login, and if they have already logged into my blueprint before, they will be passed right through to their own account. If they have not, then they will walk through some steps here to set up their account. One other thing to mention is that you may see this down here with username and password, and it auto imports some information. Ignore that. You always need to select school account login, as do your students. As well, we've created a resources group of links and put some important links on here that are external, that are related to co-op and that students may use while they're in their co-op course. So all of these are external links except for this one, which contains Google document files for this course. This allows you to go into each of the folders and access files from the course, and they're named according to the unit and activity number. Note that within the course there are links available for all of these files exactly where they're needed. So this is just so that a user could go directly into the files if needed to see all the files that are there. Now, it works better within the course because it forces the user to make a copy. So if I go now over to content, you will see that there are folders down the side. The first one's course information and contains a web page of the course information. You'll need to select go to activity, and then it will open in a separate page, and you can scroll through that information. And then Meet the Teacher is a page that you will need to edit. I'm going to get back to that later. Then you've got units 1, 2, and 3, and 4 in the culminating activity. Now unit 4 is only for the DCO-30. If you're teaching a co-op attached to a course, you're using units 1, 2, and 3 and the culminating activity. Now note that if you try to edit a page up here by selecting the 3 dots and hitting edit, it'll only allow you to edit the title. You need to edit your course down here in your folder that says edit content here. There's a folder of teacher notes that's also invisible to the students. You'll notice this closed eye indicates that it's hidden from the student, only the teacher can see it. And there are 3 things here of note. So the first is an explanation of all the resources that are in that link group. And if a username and password is needed, it's given here, as well as, for this one in particular, only some schools have chosen to do a subscription. So just to realize that that link will only be useful to those users. And then just an explanation of what each of those items are. So in particular, this one, the WMIS one, you do have to get information for your student logins prior to being able to use this link. So that gives you an explanation here for that. The next is how to get started if you are teaching co-op attached to a course. So it explains that you're going to use the units 1, 2, and 3, and it suggests 3 things you should do to get started. So the first is edit the Meet the Teacher page. You can edit that Meet the Teacher page by selecting edit here, and then you just want to replace the text. So highlight this, and whatever you're going to write in sentence paragraph form about yourself, you can write here. Replace the email, so simply delete this and put the email you would like them to use. Now note that there's an email built into the course, and if you're going to use that, then I would leave this link on the navigation, and if you're not going to use it, then I would remove it, and you need to explain to the students that you're not using that internal email, because they will still have access to it here and think possibly that they can go to the email and send an email to you that you will answer. So I would say write an explanation here if you are using an email that is outside of the course. One reason you might want to eliminate that email within the course is that you cannot email externally. So let me clarify that. You can send an email out, but you cannot accept any email in. And whoever tries to reply to your email that you've sent outside of the organization will not get a message to say that you're not going to receive that email. So they do receive a message about 3 days later, which isn't helpful. So I would suggest definitely clarifying here which email you're using and an explanation of why they should not use that internal email. Here, maybe not necessarily mobile, you might want to say you're using a school phone number, and you can provide that number here if you wish. So here, highlight and then just replace with your name, and then select this picture, go to the camera icon, which will allow you to replace the picture. So you can choose it from your computer, or if it's something online, maybe you have it like on a photo sharing site or something like that. But most likely you're going to be choosing from your computer, and you can just drag and drop it and it will replace that picture. Now, you don't have to put a picture of yourself. You could put something that's important to you instead, or you could just eliminate it if you would prefer to not include that. When you're done, you can save it. Now, the next thing is that you would want to edit any of the content. And I've given some instructions below of how to do some editing. I would suggest editing the course information page. So read through that page in terms of what it says in terms of assessment, and also any required software, equipment, or textbooks. That's a very general message there, so if you want to make it more specific, and more importantly, assignment submission policies and grading policies. So anything you would want to change on this page, I would definitely edit. You may want to also edit content pages. So if you go into an Activity 1 page, you can hit edit and you can add activities if you wish on that page. Okay, so if you want to add something, then you're going to need to very carefully, you put in your cursor where you want to add something and add to what is there within a box that already exists. You have to be very careful when you're doing your editing not to touch any of these items at the top. So make sure you don't do it here and try to put this text at this point. You want to move it down so it's well away from that area, and then you can place your cursor where you wish and press return and so forth. So I just want to see if I can get past this button. Okay, so if I have my cursor here, I can add a new activity. So maybe I'm going to say, something, add a new task. I would just do it here. You can just type in here and put whatever you want. If you want to modify an existing task, then just go and change the title carefully, and then go and change the text carefully, and just know that if you delete this button, you won't be able to get it back, but you can simply add a link to wherever you need it to go if you need to link to a discussion or an assignment. I'll just show you an example here because I went through and took out all the Save to ePortfolio links and changed them to Save to My Blueprint Portfolio, which links directly over to my blueprint where they'll have to select school account login, and directs them to do it there. So you can do the same thing and add links like this. I would just make it larger and more prominent. I believe I formatted this as a header, and so it's a bit larger on the page and more prominent. So that's what you can do if you want to edit the content. Definitely click into this button and then use your arrows to space over until you get to the white space, and this is where you can type new information or a new task. If you're just going to use the task or change it, you would edit above that button. So honestly, if you screw something up, you can just contact me and get support to fix it. We can either copy back information from the master copy, or I can find a fix of some sort. So no worries if something happens like that. Now you can also edit these expectation pop-ups. there's a pop-up that gives introductory information, then the learning goals and success criteria, and then the learning skills. So if you ever want to go edit this information, you can edit what's going to come up in those pop-ups. Just be careful not to touch or change your headings because they're aligned with those pop-ups. So for them to work properly, don't touch the headings. Okay, so that's really basics of editing. I'll mention a couple more things though, because I'm realizing, what if you wanted to add a video? Or what if you wanted to add an image? Okay, so I'm just going to put my cursor in this box and space over past it so I get a new spot. So say I want to add a video here. If you want to add your own video, you would select the insert stuff, go to My Computer, even if you're on an iPad, and then you'll be able to choose your file. If you're on your iPad, it's going to grab it from your camera or your photo gallery. And then you can say upload. And if you use that option, say it's your own video you've created, it uploads into the environment and is saved there and no one else can see it. If you want to add, say, a YouTube video, you can also go to Insert Stuff, select YouTube, and then search for the title. Just to show you the example, so I've selected it, I say Next, and I can look at the preview and insert. If you wish to insert an image, you can go to the camera and then again select from your computer, or if it's an online image and you have the URL to the image, you could use that as well. And then type information. If you want a heading, I highly suggest using the heading feature. I go to Format and say which type of heading I wish to use. Go to Insert Quick Link. Scroll down till you get to URL, paste the URL, and type what you want the text to be on your page, and select Insert. And it will insert that link. You could also highlight a word prior to going in, and then going to the URL, pasting the URL, and it already imports the word, and now this word links to that file or page. Note that you can insert just about anything. So if I go to the insert stuff and I grab something from my computer, any type of file, it will upload it into your course files and it will put it there as a link. What will happen when students select it is it will download to their device. For their iPads, it is best for you to use Word files or to use Google Documents. If you use Google Documents, then you really should use the feature where you can force them to make a copy, and I can include a link to that video of how to do that. That's a neat little trick to learn if you don't know how to do that already. There are a couple of Flash-based resources in the course that will not work on iOS, meaning the iPads. So, to access these, students are asked to use a computer. Note that for the one in Unit 1 Activity 3, there is a link to a no sound video where students can do a video walkthrough, but it does not allow them to make their own selections. As well, there are many other interactives in the course, and sometimes they end with an instruction to save as a PDF. This will not work on the iPads. So in this case, please tell students using iPads to take a screenshot. Here's an example of one such interactive. Note that on the iPad, the students may just see a play button in the center of the screen. They should simply select the play button to reveal the entire interactive. Then they can make selections as instructed. If you have any further questions on how to use this course or on how to use the tools within the virtual learning environment, please contact me for further support.